This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. Now, to start off the show, I like to pull a card from one of my decks, and today I'm pulling from the my Akashic Tarot deck, and one just flew right out just as we started taping this. So the card that came out is Birth. I feel like we got this card last week or maybe the week before. So I'm going to bring this card to the camera here. We're going to see if we can zoom in on that. So there is a woman in this card with two children running towards her, and there's a dog. So dog is unconditional love. Children are about playfulness, open to ideas, childlike wonder. Everything is a possibility. And the mother is holding a basket of flowers, and flowers is about blossoming, newness. It looks like the sun is coming up, so it's a new day. And there's some ruins in the background, but it's the background. So we are moving beyond the past, letting go of what is no longer serving us and moving into the new. So we might have some shadows of the old coming up, where we'll have situations and we have emotions that are wanting to come up, and maybe our thoughts are wanting to go into that place that would, let's say, bring us down, create that more heaviness. But you're going to be more of an observer. This is the opportunity for you to see that and consciously choose to step into the new way of flowing through life, with trusting that everything is going to be okay, that you got this, and for some reason things are flowing in this way, and maybe it's going to be better this way, and being able to consciously create your reality from your optimistic viewpoint. So that is the message for this week's show. And if you are interested in a one-on-one session, you can contact me on my website, thejoyfulyogini.ca. So I do one-on-one energy healing sessions and readings. I'm also a personal trainer and a yoga and fitness instructor. So who do we have up on the show today? We have Alec King from CMHA, and we're talking about some tips to keep your mental health on par during the holidays, because holidays can create stress. We also have Christy, who is from Scugog Fire, and we'll be talking about the 12 days of holiday safety, because yeah, things can not go so right if we're not conscious of what we're doing within our house as we are celebrating for the holidays. So a lot of fabulous tips. So make sure you keep on watching. We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I have Christy, who is the Communications Outreach Officer for Scugog Fire. And today we are talking about their campaign that is launching on December the 12th called the 12 Days of Holiday Safety?
Yes.
Okay, so I know we don't have enough time to go over all 12 days, but let's hit some of those really great points to help everyone stay safe over the holidays.
Sounds good. So I'm really excited. Many years in a row we've run this campaign, and it is part of a provincial campaign, but here in Durham region we really try to make it grow each year. So with help from Enbridge Gas, we have sponsorship for radio ads. So beginning December 12th, through the holidays, people will hear daily announcements of the fire safety tip of the day. And beginning with the stuff we talk about all the time, alarms, escape planning, moving right through to holiday decorations and some other concerns that people might have through the holidays.
Okay, so we're going to go through some of those tips. Can you first really hit home the point as to why? People, like, why are we doing this? People hear about safety tips all the time. It comes in the schools as well. And obviously, there's a reason why we keep on needing to get these messages out.
Sadly, in the province of Ontario and in general, Canada, North America, fatal fires are still occurring and actually often on the rise year after year. We saw a huge spike in the number of fatal fires annually during COVID because people were at home and cooking at home, working at home, and doing these things while they're distracted, parenting, having visitors over when they could, stuff like that. And the trends have kind of continued, sadly, on that upward spike. And during the holidays, we're very busy, we're very distracted, and we're bringing possibly some other hazards into our home by means of decorations and cooking and stuff like that. So this time of year especially, we want to make sure that fire safety is on people's minds. We recognize that they have so many other things on their mind, but we're vulnerable and spending time inside because we're experiencing winter weather as well. So it's just a vulnerable time, and we want to remind people, don't forget about your fire safety while you're keeping up with all the hustle and bustle of the holidays too.
Okay, so let's start with decorations. What are some really key things that we need to be cognizant of when we're putting up our holiday decorations?
So one of the big messages, if people use a real Christmas tree, watering that tree daily. So they can drink a ton of water, especially as the holidays progress and the tree is getting older and drying out. Keep watering that tree and checking it to make sure. I've been amazed even myself before, like watering it daily, but I check it like at the end of the day and it's almost empty again.
Wow.
So don't forget to do that.
Is it also good to throw, like, I've heard for the longevity of the Christmas tree to add in a bit of like sugar or a little bit of pop? Does that help it to stay more nourished on the inside?
I do know some people make it like a sugar water, almost like you would feed to flowers.
Okay.
I don't know if that, I don't necessarily think that would help with
If
the
it's
fire
more fire
safety.
prevention,
Yeah,
okay.
But if you're thinking, I gotta feed it sugar, then you are at least remembering to give it more water too. So good way to remember.
Okay.
And then with your lights as well, check all of the cords and make sure they're not frayed or damaged. I know personally my cat loves to sleep under the Christmas tree. We have a fake tree that has the lights built into it.
Yeah.
And last night I caught her, like as we were setting up our tree, chewing on it. So checking for damage.
And also, depending where you're storing them, you might have some mice in there that have been having some fun. Okay.
And then extension cords. So don't use extension cords permanently or run them under rugs or anything like that. So we recommend the use of a power bar instead that has like surge protection.
Okay.
Of course, outdoor Christmas lights or maybe even your tree, you're going to be using temporarily throughout this season an extension cord that you're just plugging in maybe for a couple hours a day, but don't leave those running all the time, especially when you're not home.
So can I ask you, if depending on where your tree is and if you have a power bar, can you have an extension cord between the power bar and the tree?
Best case scenario would be to get a longer power bar and then plug directly right into the power bar with the surge protection and purchase a power bar that is listed for safe use in Canada. So they have those little silver stickers or CAN ULC ratings on them. So buy from a reputable kind of place to purchase, like home goods from, versus purchasing something cheap online.
Okay. Now let's talk about candles too, because a lot of people, there's Christmas smelling candles. Like, yes, you can get the ones at the dollar store with the batteries, but you want your house to smell good. So if you are going to light a candle, because people are going to do it, right?
Yes.
So what are some tips just to look out for in your surroundings? Good practice to make sure you're safe.
So supervise them. If you're going to leave the room, blow the candle out. It's very easy to forget that you have one going. You think, I'm just leaving the room for a minute. You get distracted, especially in the holidays. You have guests. Next thing you know, it's unsupervised in that other room. Also sturdy candles in a tall kind of glass container, not just the little tea lights or the stick candles that could fall over. Keep a clear space around them, not near curtains or other decorations, anything like that. I dread every year I see a video on the internet of people still following the old tradition of putting real candles in a real tree at an event, and I can't even watch. So there's tons of alternatives as well. So the bowls of the potpourri, I guess, with the cinnamon and everything, that can smell good. I also see lots of recipes of boiling a mixture of stuff on your stove, and it makes your house smell good.
Apples.
Bake Christmas cookies. Do something like that, and it can help make your house smell good as well and set the same kind of mood, right?
Nice. Something I just want to throw out there too, if you have a dog with a long sweeping tail.
Exactly.
That can definitely take a flame and go, whew.
Yes.
And some of the things out there that you can purchase that you would think might be safe are not always safe.
Exactly.
Because I had this aromatherapy type of thing that had a little tea light at the bottom.
Yes.
Stuff caught on fire.
Okay. Yeah.
I was so lucky. Okay.
Sorry. Be very careful. That's
get some more. We're almost done. So get some more tips in there that you want to share.
So the other thing we always remind people of, no matter what, but especially this time of year, is smoke and CO alarms. So a working smoke alarm at a minimum on every level of your home outside of all sleeping areas.
Okay.
Working CO alarm on all sleeping levels. You might be heating with a fireplace. Furnaces are definitely on by now, so there could be sources of carbon monoxide in your home. Make sure those alarms are within 10 years old, and you test them each month. Review your home escape plan with your family. Things could change in the winter. Maybe your meeting place isn't as accessible because there's a snowbank, so talk about that. And if you're going to have guests in your home over the holidays, also review your escape plan with them and talk about the exits that are available to them from whatever room they're sleeping in case there is a fire, especially overnight when people are disoriented, tired, they're woken up surprised that something's going on. They need to be able to think and escape without panicking.
Okay, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Always fabulous tips. Thank you. They'll be top of mind for the holidays. We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Stick around.
Knights of Columbus TV Bingo, 7 p.m. right here on Rogers TV. Buy your tickets from your local merchants for your chance to win up to $5,000 every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on Rogers TV.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So we have Christy here. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. So Christy is the Community Outreach Officer for Scugog Fire, and we've been talking about holiday safety. So something that we also want to talk about today are lithium-ion batteries.
Yes, you got it.
So can you give us some examples of what type of maybe holiday gifts that could include lithium-ion batteries?
Yes, so these batteries are in our day-to-day lives all the time now. And especially at the holidays, they might be in different gifts for children, they might be in decorations, and gifts for adults as well. So an example, a couple years ago, something that was really popular was those hoverboards for kids.
Okay.
And those contain a lithium-ion battery. Our electronics, anything that's rechargeable. So again,
like electric scooters and stuff?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And everybody probably has like at least 10 to 15 that they're using as part of their day-to-day life that they don't even realize in their phones, laptops, kids' toys, anything like that. And possibly their vehicles as well if they're driving an electric vehicle.
Okay, so what are the dangers around lithium-ion batteries?
So they actually are one of the #1 fastest growing fire concerns being a cause of fire. So one of the problems is people replacing the kind of factory battery that comes with a product with an aftermarket product. So the battery life starts to be impacted after lots of use, and it's maybe not holding a charge as long. So they go online and they purchase an aftermarket battery that, one, maybe doesn't have, like, it isn't regulated where it was created, so not built to the same kind of safety standard, and two, they might be switching using a different charger than the charger that would come with the battery, things like that. So there's a lot of different concerns, and then the problem is they're bringing this home into their house, charging the devices. They might be overcharging or charging a device that's damaged, and those batteries can actually create a self-sustaining chemical chain reaction within them to have a fire. And so our concern, again, you're charging something in your bedroom, charging your electronic, your cell phone, in your living space, charging the kids' toys, even attached garages with tools and things like that, or vehicles, then you have this battery that can create a fire that gets into something called thermal runaway that's very fast growing and difficult for firefighters to extinguish.
Okay, so there's been some fires with electric cars as well that start in the lithium-ion battery.
Yes.
So do you want to share just a brief example about that?
So they're just a whole different type of fire, again, for firefighters. And the root cause could be just a problem in manufacturing, damage to the car, or it's been in an accident and then it starts on fire. But the difficulty for us as firefighters is in extinguishing these fires. It's a lot different than just putting water or a foam product on the old style of, not even old, but previous style of car fire. So because in the lithium-ion battery, that thermal runaway I mentioned, and there's tons of batteries within the electric car, it just can get away from us very, very quickly. Hopefully, if it's on the road, everybody's gotten out safely and there's nothing around it. But if that was in someone's garage, then next thing you know, we can have a house fire, right? So just following the manufacturer's instructions, safe charging practices. If people notice any concerns, then taking the car or any other little device in for a check with a certified mechanic. Just keeping that in mind. If it does catch on fire, get out and call 911.
Okay. Whew. So, so one of the lessons that come out of that is don't get aftermarket batteries. So you're talking about even these batteries are inside our phones.
Yes.
So if you need to get a new battery, go to, let's say you got it from Apple, go to Apple and get them to put an Apple battery in there just to make sure that your purse isn't going to catch on fire, let's say.
And one of my big concerns is with mobility scooters in like multi-unit residential buildings. So there should be nothing in the hallway and stairwells of those buildings, but sometimes we walk in to do a fire inspection and we're finding, because they don't have room in their unit, they're storing and charging things in the hallways. Well, now it overcharges or there was damage to it, it's plugged in overnight in the hallway. The alarms go off, people go to evacuate, and their means of egress is on fire. So that can be very, very dangerous. So that's something not just at the holidays, but all year round to keep in mind is just where you're charging these devices as well, and following rules about where that should be and where it can be done safely.
Now, I'm glad you said overcharging, because I seriously had no idea that overcharging was an issue. Just if it's at 100%, just whatever, keep it plugged in. I do that with my phone all the time, and I have a hearing aid too. I'll just leave it plugged into the charger. So what can happen with overcharging? Is it like an overheating of the product?
Yes, so we're finding that especially with the aftermarket batteries, and often that's with the kids' toys and things like that. If they are left to overcharge, then they will overheat, and again have that fire contained right within the battery, because a fire needs fuel, oxygen, and heat. And within the battery, there's fuel, like items that can burn, just like paper wrapping and stuff like that. There's an oxidizing agent, and a self-sustained chemical chain reaction just keeps creating heat. So you have that heat from being overcharged, and then it just causes that fire, and it feeds itself and then catches its surroundings on fire if it's in your house, and you only have minutes to escape before that could be a really big fire.
Okay. Now, you know, with regular batteries that if you don't take them out of products and you leave them in there, they can corrode. With the lithium batteries, do you have to regularly take them out, or does that not matter with that type of battery?
I think it depends on the product that it's in, but you may know if you notice any expansion, cracking, things like that, you should absolutely take it out, and don't store any damaged batteries in your house either. Dispose of them properly at a waste disposal site. And the other thing I tell people right now, because these products are so new, is report issues and concerns that you have with the batteries. An example, we had some with our fire department pagers actually, where the battery was expanding, and we reported it to the manufacturer, and there was a recall issued, and they replaced a lot of our batteries.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah, thank you. You might as well help other people, prevent them from having a fire within their home.
Exactly.
And get the problem resolved.
Exactly.
Christy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I always have amazing information. We'll be back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Stick around.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I have Alec King, who is the Communications and Public Relations lead. I was almost going to say officer.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That sounds fun too. Lead/officer from CMHA. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me back.
It's always so great to have you on.
Thank you.
Mental health is something that every single one of us need to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
Whether it's for ourselves, for others. And the holidays, mental health issues can really ramp up.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. 52% of Canadians report feeling stressed, anxious, or depressed over the holidays. It's a big, big trigger for people.
So I'm so glad that you're on the show to talk about this. So we're going to talk about some tips to help us to keep our mental health healthy.
Absolutely.
Over the holidays.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of around the season is people have this expectation that they have to be merry, right? That there's that kind of built-in feeling that you have to be merry, you have to do all the things with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's important to kind of stop and realize that the idea behind all these celebrations are to find things that make you happy.
Right.
And enjoying those things is really important. So maybe you stop and you look at everything you have laid in front of you, your traditions and your parties and things you're going to, and stop and think, what about this do you appreciate? And what about this can you kind of let go?
Okay, I love that, because sometimes the traditions, all the work, the energy that you need to put into these traditions, whether it is making a certain recipe or it's baking cookies for whatever, or hand weaving your ornaments. I don't know. Like, they can, like, some years you're not going to necessarily have the energy or time, and sometimes we can worry that other people are going to be disappointed, we're going to let people down.
Yep. That pressure for perfection that people feel. I mean, every day people feel it, but especially around the holidays, there's this whole idea that you're responsible for making the holidays perfect for everybody. And for some people, maybe for families with small children, maybe some of that is true to a degree, but the important thing is that you just have to make it something that you're going to enjoy and that doesn't drag you down and wear you out.
Right. So this is great. So tip number one is basically make choices that are going to be best for you.
Yep, exactly.
And so if you're doing that reevaluation, then maybe you might cut down or adapt a tradition to make it a little bit.
And cutting down is interesting because one of the other kind of points is that the holidays are a huge kind of pressure to go overeating,
excess,
overspending, over drinking, right? Okay. Doing more of these things that you would normally feel comfortable doing. And that's why a lot of people report in January having a bit of a kind of a holiday hangover, where they've overspent, they've drank too much, they've eaten too much, and it has an impact on you, on your body physically, and on your wallet, but all those things add up to having an effect on your mental health as well. So
Sorry,
but-
go ahead.
oh,
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just running off. But anyway, so the idea is that, I mean, you take a look and you kind of consider what of that is value to you, because absolutely you want to spend money on the people you love. But also, you could maybe just let them know that you love and appreciate them. You can do that through a note or a small handmade gift, something that's of value to you that you want to share with them, as opposed to just throwing out all the money, right?
Right. You don't have to show your love through lots of expensive gifts.
Exactly. The pressure is there, and that can be really hard for people to remember, but also kind of setting that boundary and making sure that you're very clear with people that you love and appreciate them, but this is what we're doing around this.
Right. I love that. So you mentioned people being lonely. So some people have lost loved ones either this time of year, or they've lost them at some point, and now those loved ones are not there to join them in these celebrations. So that could be really tough. So do you have any tips to help people through loss over the holidays?
Absolutely. Holidays are a terrible, terrible time for people to feel that kind of pain of missing a loved one. And one of the things that you can do is be open and then talk about it. A lot of people try and hide behind it, and they act like nothing has changed. They go through everything they've always done before, or they try and do it exactly the same way that they've done the holidays in the past, you know, sometimes in this person's memory, or sometimes just to keep everything as plain and normal as possible. But that has a tremendous amount of pressure, and that's very difficult for people to kind of keep up with that. It's good to talk. It's good to be open about your feelings and discuss how you're feeling, and look at the traditions and look at maybe they need to evolve and change. Maybe your family has changed and it's time to kind of evolve and grow some of those traditions as well. But along with the talking, because this kind of stuff can make kind of painful experiences for people, is reach out for support. Talk to someone like CMHA Durham or call one of the crisis lines, but just be ready to talk and discuss about it and be open about your feelings.
And you know something I want to say that I really appreciated is when I started going through my separation process, I had a friend reach out and say, hey, you're going to be alone on December 25th. Do you want to come and hang out with me and my family? Do you want to do something? I'm going to have some people over. So even thinking about those people around you, and if they've had losses, if they're on their own, how can you get them to join in? In what you're doing.
That's a wonderful thing to do. That's fantastic. And I mean, we know people in our lives who are hurting, and being able to talk with them about it is really wonderful, because they feel that kind of support. They might not take you up on it. They might not come over if you invite them to, but they might just like knowing that you've offered support, that you've tried to help.
Yeah, I love that. Now, with the colder temperatures, the blustery winds, it also, we tend to want to hibernate more. We tend to stay in more, and then we can seclude ourselves. So is there a quick tip as how to stay in a good space despite maybe in the harsher weather?
Absolutely, there's lots of ideas. One thing that I really like suggesting people do is think about volunteering. You can find organizations that kind of align with your values and beliefs and things you want to support in the community, and offer to volunteer. It can be a short-term thing or a long-term thing, but having that idea that you need to commit, go out and do something, can kind of make you feel compelled to go do it. And then once you're out there, you're connected with a community of like-minded people who also want to share the same values and support the community in the same way. Volunteering is a wonderful opportunity for people to connect and feel supported as well.
Thank you so much. It's always so great to have you on the show. Fantastic tips.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for watching the show. I'm so grateful to Alec from CMHA and Christy from Scugog Fire. I hope you have wonderful holidays. We'll be back with more next week on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.